Hey guys, what you're looking at right there is my parents' house. That's the house I grew up in way back in the 80s and 90s. And this is me. And this is my dirty sap truck. I'm here, leaving here early in the morning because that's where I slept last night. Extreme times require extreme measures. I don't know, we've been putting in a few late nights lately, and rather than go home to my house on the mean streets of Marshfield, which is about 20 minutes away, I sleep here at my parents', just like I did when I was a kid, to get a little bit more rest because I got to turn around and go right up to the world headquarters. So come along. All right guys, here pulling into the parking lot, and I will tell you the last couple days have been pretty long, especially yesterday. It was the biggest sap run that I think I've ever seen. My dad feels the same way. We had a lot of sap. We couldn't really keep up with it at times. Right here, sap storage tanks, those were all full at times, and we had people waiting as well as ourselves to get their sap in. It was kind of crazy. I don't love those days, I'll be honest with you. They're really long and tiring. I'm tired, and then I didn't sleep well last night, but I got to get inside here and actually get on a conference call with a buyer for Meijer stores, because that's where one of the stores that I sell the TMD brand maple syrup, and it's just one of the many little hats you have to wear as a small business person, kind of have your hands into everything. And I got to get on a call with them at 7:30 this morning Central Time, because they're in the Eastern Time Zone.
And there's some additional tactics, Tim, that we can provide to you, given you the fact that you're a local manufacturer for us, to kind of help. They have some display space, end caps specifically.
Okay.
Kurt will help you with this, okay?
Yeah, I
Kurt,
mean,
Kurt can help you. Yeah, go ahead.
a lot of this stuff I wasn't aware of, at all until Kurt brought it up. So, he helped that make me aware of a lot of the stuff that I wasn't even had no clue about.
Yeah, that's not. I mean, and that's not your fault. I mean, we're a big company. We like to think we're easy to work with. We're a little complex, but that's why we've invested in Curtis and his team to kind of help with some of the smaller local manufacturers. 1 year, we're going to need longer than probably a year to get to those levels, but as we get to those levels, Tim, then we can look at exploration in terms of expansion and distribution, if that makes sense.
The other thing, John, we're at 13.3% margin on all your items at the desk here, so we're at our lowest margin tier because of high cost, right?
Yep.
So I will work with Tim to make sure we're got competitive retails compared to your competition.
So guys, that was a meeting online video call with a buyer from Meijer. That's out of Michigan, but they have stores in Wisconsin and Michigan, I think Indiana, Illinois, whatever. Pretty big chain, pretty big corporate type structure there. So I was talking with a buyer about expanding into more stores, and we have to essentially what he said is the sales have to be higher. He has to see higher sales before we can do that. And maple syrup, it's very competitive because there's a lot of local smaller companies like myself that want to get into these stores, and basically people shop on price. And how do you get more sales? You lower your price, and then you hope to increase your sales volume to make up for that. On a small scale business as myself, I'm not big by any means. That's hard to do because we don't do massive volume. So in some sense, you have to look at whether sales like that to those types of stores or, you know, businesses, companies, corporations are worth your time, are worth it for you, because you're going to just be making less and less, but hope to make it up in volume. I think I threw out this statistic once that for every, let's go over here, for every maple syrup quart, this is pretty accurate, for every one of these that I sell at full retail price direct to the customer, so I sell it directly to the customer, I would have to sell 6 of these, 6 or 7 of these to Meyer or any other type of big chain type store, retail grocery store, 6 or 7 of these to make the same profit margin as one. Now, you're going to do more volume, but to really make that worthwhile, you have to do a lot of volume. And that's where it gets a little bit tricky for a business like mine, because we're not huge. You have to look at, is it even worth it? You know, or are you better off going direct to customer? But to go to direct to customer, that requires a lot more work, and especially in a business like this, because it's maple syrup, you know, you're talking a lot more things, probably like festivals, events, you know, things during the summer, farmers markets. That's where it's harder and harder for me, because I'm a guy that getting to the age where I'm at, my last son Jack is going to be out of school here in less than 2 months. I'll have no young children anymore. I'm kind of passing on to the next phase of life where I don't want to spend all my time pounding the pavement doing this. Some people, they want to do that. That's the lifestyle they want to live. They want to spend all their weekends working on this. That's not me anymore. Never really has been. I want to do things more, things like traveling, or, you know, in the summertime going to, you know, the lake, or ATV riding. I'm really big into that, you know, enjoying life a bit more at this stage of life. So it's a little tough, a little double-edged sword there. Those festival, event, outdoor, summer type things that I talked about, you know, we do them. We do a few per year, and I enjoy doing them. But that's about all I personally want to do per year, is the traditional ones we do at Warren's Cranberry Fest, Marshville Maple Fall Fest, you know, that. And beyond that, you know, well, you could do more. You could say, TMD, do more if that's how you can increase your business. Yes. Then you have to hire people to do it. And of course, you know, that requires paying for labor. And the profit margins on this stuff, you know, like I said, it's not huge. There's huge input costs to make the maple syrup. So when you start paying for labor, you know, obviously that eats up a lot of the profit, but that is what it is. That's what you have to do, but you have to weigh the cost benefit of that, and hope you make it up in sales. So you're kind of back to a volume game again in that realm. It doesn't help that here in Wisconsin, the maple syrup market is very saturated, extremely saturated at events and things like that. So typically what you see, and most of the people in maple syrup, even though I'm not a big business, I'm bigger than most, you know, they're doing this on their own time, on weekends. It's the owner, the proprietor, you know, sitting at the booth, sitting at the vendor tent, you know, on the weekends. So as far as the maple syrup season here in central Wisconsin is going for us, right here's the evaporator and everything. You know, it's starting to get a little bit dirtier. We've been in here going at this since March 9th. You know, it's now March 27th. So not even quite 3 weeks. We usually get 4 to 5 weeks out of a season. And how's it been going? Like I said, yesterday, probably the biggest run of all time. And there's been a couple other really pretty big days. But it hasn't been what I'd call an awesome season yet at this point. We're sitting at about I'd say 60% of a good crop of what we'd like to get. You know, and the weather, depending on the forecast that you look at, we could see some more days coming up. One of them trends warmer, the other one trends a little cooler, and the cooler one makes it look like, well, potentially we could kind of struggle along here up to maybe 2 weeks. Now, if we did that, would we get to my goal? Possibly. We possibly could get there if you get a bit, you know, smaller amounts each day, or just get some really big hitters in there where you make a lot of syrup like we did the last day. We'll see. We got Pops and we got Jack, Maple Dude Jr. here. You guys are gonna be on the YouTube video today.
Oh yeah? It's big news. No, he says no.
Jack, what's your purpose of coming out here today? And what you came out here after school?
I left for study hall, but yeah, I came out here and gonna get some work in. We're gonna go collect sap from basically all of the woods, essentially.
Yeah. Jack's gonna try to make a run of
5.
all 5 locations.
Cause I'm that guy. That's what she said.
Are you going down to 4 with Bobby?
All of them but one.
They're gonna go to all of
I'm
them.
gonna get one on my own after that.
All right.
So, I mean, I guess
It's not a lot to get.
No.
Yeah.
If you wanted to go, John, you're on the YouTube video. John's here from the cities,
Here, call Dad.
helping out for a couple days.
Nope. Yesterday was nuts, Sapnami. Today, not so much.
Yeah, slowed up big time. But you know, it's a tough business. It's dependent on nature and it's farming. And you know, one thing, you look at some of these operations out there that you can see online, they're all over the place, you know, from small to really big. And I like to say mine, it's kind of medium, smaller as far as maple syrup concerned, but mine is, I show you my place and it's not that fancy, especially my stuff out in the woods. It's not that complicated or fancy, but it's paid for. So I like to show you mine and show you how much I'm not in debt. I mean, most everything here, guys, is all paid for. That's how I'm able to make a living doing this full time, because I don't have much debt on this anymore. I wouldn't enjoy having millions and millions of dollars of debt on a gigantic operation and doing this type of work for not a lot of pay. You're not going to make a lot of money making maple syrup. So it's a labor of love for sure. Guys, we'll go out here. I gotta get going on the day here, kind of catching up from the run of yesterday. There again is my truck. That thing has not been washed in probably a month. That mud on there actually probably serves as a nice protective coating for these hoses that sometimes get slapped against the side and stuff. The truck's actually in really nice shape. It looks pretty sharp yet. Sap tanks here, we had them full and basically sitting full for a lot of the day yesterday. We caught up a little last night. I finally had to call it a night, and 3 of those are full, 3 of those are empty. So I got to get going on this so we can stay ahead of it, because I feel like we're gonna have still a lot of sap coming in today. That's usually what happens. The next day after a big day, you still get a lot coming in from the people that we buy their sap from. As you can see up here on the hill where the world headquarters is, it's all brown now. I mean, really no snow left. Tiny little bits maybe on the north sides of woods. We did have a pretty nice snowfall the other day, but this time of year it goes really quick. It's cloudy today, but if I look off into the distance, I can kind of see a red tint out there on the woods. So obviously, you know, that means things are starting to change and we're trending here towards the end of the season with trees getting ready to bud and whatnot. Again, we're hoping for more, because if we don't get, like I said, we're probably about 60%, 62. I need a lot more, and then I need to be in the market of buying syrup. If there's a shortage of it, the price on that is going to go up. And then, as I alluded to earlier with the meeting with the grocery store chain, they want to pressure you down on retail price, because they want you to increase your units volume per store. That's the game you play, and I talked about that earlier. All right, guys, we're up here in the storefront, just walking through here. Let's go outside. One thing I wanted to show you as an improvement this year was this trailer. And this is my man, Bobby. Bobby is from Iowa, but he comes up here during the season and he helps and does a majority of our driving and transport of sap. But he brought up his trailer here, pretty heavy duty trailer, and he's got a 1,000, this is like a 1,050 gallon tank that we have in the back of it. So that helps quite a bit with our hauling of sap, but that thing's full. We had to leave it on the trailer last night because of the storage issues we were having. We had a couple other guys out there that are sap producers and sell us sap that helped us out in that regard too. You know, they held on to sap for a while and bringing it in today because of the storage issues. So today is Thursday. We're gonna get boiling here, guys. Get after it. Tomorrow the weather forecast calls for a pretty warm day in parts of Wisconsin. It's gonna be a stark contrast between the warmer and the cooler. We're gonna be right on the borderline. I know west of us over by Eau Claire, they were calling for a high of like 77. That might just kind of trigger the end if we get that. But I'm crossing our fingers that we don't get that over here and it extends beyond us a little bit. I'll keep you posted, guys. Thanks for watching this short video. Hope you found it entertaining, enlightening, and informative. Have a great week, and remember, always keep it real.